I never liked the woods at night, but when my friends suggested a weekend camping trip deep inside Whispering Pines Forest, I agreed. I told myself it would just be a fun escape. No phones, no noise, just nature. There were 4 of us. Me, my best friend, Jake, his girlfriend, Emily, and my cousin, Ryan. We parked the car at the last dirt road, loaded up our backpacks, and walked for hours until we found the perfect spot. The forest felt strange. The deeper we went, the quieter it became, as if the trees swallowed every sound. By the time we set up our tents, the sun was already slipping behind the pines, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we weren't supposed to be there. That first night, as we sat around the fire, we heard it. A faint, drawn-out scream echoing through the darkness. Jake laughed nervously and said it must be coyotes. Emily tried to brush it off too, but I saw the way she looked into the shadows. The sound wasn't like any animal I'd ever heard. Still, we stayed by the fire, pretending everything was normal. But in the back of my mind, I knew something in those woods was watching us. The next morning, the forest felt different, colder, quieter. As I stepped out of the tent, I noticed something carved into the bark of a tree right next to us. It wasn't there yesterday. A strange symbol, a circle with jagged lines slashing through it. Who the hell did this? I asked. Jake swore it wasn't him, and Ryan laughed like it was some dumb prank, but Emily's face turned pale. She whispered that she'd seen something similar in a book about old rituals. We tried to shake it off and went about our day, hiking, cooking, taking pictures, but the forest wouldn't let us forget. That night, as the fire crackled low, the scream came again. Only this time, there were 2 of them, from opposite sides of the woods. Emily grabbed my arm, whispering, "That's not coyotes." And for the first time, Jake didn't laugh. Out there, beyond the glow of the fire, I saw movement. A tall, thin shadow slipping between the trees. That night we decided to stay awake longer, keeping the fire burning bright. None of us wanted to admit it, but we were waiting, listening. Around midnight, the forest broke its silence. The screams came back, louder, closer, but this time they weren't just screams, they were voices. One of them was crying, the other laughing, the sounds weaving together in a way that made my stomach twist. "Stay here," Jake muttered, grabbing his flashlight. He marched toward the trees. I wanted to stop him, but my voice stuck in my throat. The rest of us sat frozen as his light bobbed between the trunks. Then suddenly he came running back, his face pale. "There's something out there," he whispered. "Not an animal, not a person either, just shadows, moving." I glanced into the tree line, and I swear I saw it too. A tall, thin figure that swayed between the trees, its outline barely darker than the night itself. The next morning, we realized the forest wasn't just playing tricks on us. It was leaving us messages. More of those strange symbols had appeared overnight, not just on the trees this time, but scratched into the fabric of Ryan's backpack, even on the wooden handle of Emily's knife. None of us could explain it. None of us wanted to. While searching for firewood, Ryan stumbled onto something hidden between the pines, an old, rotting cabin. Its windows were broken, the roof sagging, but the door stood half open, waiting. Against my better judgment, we went inside. The walls were covered from floor to ceiling with the same symbols we'd seen in the woods. Circles, crosses, shapes that didn't make sense. Hundreds of them carved deep into the wood, and in the center of the room, a small, dust-covered toy. A child's teddy bear, missing one eye. Emily whispered, "This place isn't abandoned." Someone was here. That night we tried to pretend everything was normal. We cooked dinner, told jokes, forced ourselves to laugh. But once the fire started to die, the forest reminded us where we were. It began with the sound of footsteps, slow, heavy, circling our campsite. Then something grabbed the side of our tent and shook it hard, like giant hands trying to tear it open. Emily screamed. Jake jumped up with the flashlight, but when he shined it outside, nothing was there, just trees. And then we heard it. Not a scream this time, not a voice, a child's laughter. High-pitched, playful, but it echoed in every direction at once. The laughter grew louder until it twisted into a blood-curdling scream that made my skin crawl. Ryan couldn't take it. He'd bolted into the trees, shouting that he'd rather face whatever it was than sit there waiting. We ran after him, flashlights slicing through the dark, and that's when I saw it. Between the trunks, just for a second, a tall shadow watching us. It didn't move. It didn't run. It just stood there, waiting. We stumbled back into the clearing, the cabin looming in front of us like it had been waiting. The whispers died down, replaced by a silence so heavy it pressed against my ears. That's when Emily pointed at a tree. Her voice cracked. Look. Carved deep into the bark was a new symbol, not just lines and circles this time. It was a shape, a figure, and it looked exactly like us. 4 stick-like forms, huddled together. My blood ran cold, because as we stared, another line appeared beneath the figures, as if scratched by invisible hands. A 5th mark slowly etched into the wood. Jake shouted for us to run, but my legs wouldn't move. The shadows crept closer, stretching across the ground, longer and longer, until they touched our feet. The last thing I remember was the sound of that child's laughter returning, not distant this time, right behind me. And then, nothing.